Welcome to the Uncivil Mentality Podcast. I'm Erik Vidal.
And I'm Reilly Kilbride.
Let's go. Let's go. There you go. Oh, snap.
Let's go.
Fix the lighting.
The lighting.
She understood the assignment with the shirt.
Yeah, I had to represent.
Absolutely. Gang.
Let me fix this lighting. Sorry.
No worries. Take your time. No pressure.
Shantel,
Good morning.
Where do you live?
Good morning.
Texas, right?
Yes.
Texas.
All right. Texas. Are you from there?
She ended up there.
No, yeah, I ended up here in 2020.
Okay. You liking it so
Is
far?
the lighting okay, or should I dim it? I can't tell. Maybe I need to turn the phone back off. Sorry, I'm at my house.
It's all good.
Yeah, we're at our house.
Well, I'm not at my house. I'm at my other house, I guess you could say.
The studio.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool. How you feeling this morning?
Good. How about you guys?
Good. So whereabouts in Texas are you?
I'm in Houston.
Okay. Cool. Before we get rolling, because we'll just start a conversation. We'll be doing this for 15 minutes. Let's have you introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, what do you do, and like your overall mission in life.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Shantel Lund. I was born in Elko, Nevada. Moved to Houston, Texas in 2020. I work for the Port of Houston Fire Department on a fireboat, and I work also for East Tex Fire, which is a fire department on the east side of Houston. And my mission in life is just to serve others around me in the best way I can. And I do that through my work, and everything I do in life is I try to be a servant to others around me.
Absolutely. So Erik and I were talking before you hopped on. We have so many things in common with you, and we have so many things to talk about. So many different facets of this interview are going to be pretty easy. Let's talk about let's talk about how you grew up. What kind of sports did you play? What kind of got you into the fire service, stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like I said, I grew up in northern Nevada. I grew up playing soccer and track. Very outdoorsy girl. My dad had us outside all the time growing up, so it definitely was outside. We lived in the mountains, so we were very active. Just kind of grew up into that. I knew that I didn't ever want to do anything in an office. I wanted to do something that gave me some sort of adrenaline, but also like to serve others around me. And so kind of firefighting was the way that, I thought would be the best for me. My grandpa was a firefighter too, so it kind of inspired me growing up, was to kind of get into the fire service and kind of represent him.
All right. So what'd you find first? Did you find CrossFit first, or did you find firefighting first?
I found firefighting first. I don't think I started CrossFit until maybe 2018. So very close. I think I went through academy and like really sucked at the academy, and like I had a lot of endurance. I always like loved running and stuff. I was very in shape, just not like that strong. So I wanted to find something that was going to build my strength up, and I kind of started the CrossFit community that way. So
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah.
So real quick, I met Shantel at the Firefighter Challenge World Championship last year, and our interaction was kind of like standoffish, right? She was dialed in. She was so focused at the task at hand, like I didn't even want to mess with her. Our interaction was brief because I like, hey, what's up? Oh, you're doing this thing, cool. Oh, you CrossFit as well? Oh, that's what's up. Me too. So you mind if I ask you a question? Oh yeah, well, I'll see you later.
She was locked in, dude. She was
Dialed
locked
in,
in.
bro. I couldn't. I like, oh, I'm just gonna leave her alone because I know what that feels like. So talk to me about your preparation when you're in the firefighter challenge. Talk to me mentally and physically, like what you're going through and how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, for the firefighter challenge, I was just nervous last year. It was my first year, and so I'm competing against all these amazing athletes from all over the world at Worlds. And so I was definitely nervous at Worlds. And I don't know if you saw me like after my race, but I was literally vomiting in the bush. Like just
No, I thought you
took
were
it as
just to
hard as I
yourself.
could. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, don't fuck
Just
with her.
mentally, yeah. Just I don't know, just mentally preparing myself, listening to music and just kind of getting ready for the moment. Just kind of strategizing the way I wanted to hit the courses throughout that week and um, when to kind of like go full throttle and then some races kind of go back a little bit. Cause I mean, if you went full send on that entire course every time, I mean, it's just, you're not going to be able to give your 100% every single time, multiple times. And so like, there's times when you have to like step it up. And then there's times like, okay, back it down because I want to make it to finals, but I don't want to like gas myself. So it's a lot about strategizing, I've realized and learned this last year. So just kind of mentally preparing myself of like how I'm going to run this race and how hard I'm going to go at it. And um, yeah, just to have an overall final best. So,
So my buddies that I ride on the
uh,
truck with or like I'll work out with, they always tell me like right before things start, I'll get mean. They're like, "Yo, dude, you turn into a different guy like 5 minutes before, or like before 10 down to one. In that 10 seconds, I turn into another person. I get real mean." They're like, "Dude, you're not yourself." And I'm like, "Because I'm trying to dial in. I'm trying to get focused.
yeah,
I'm trying to like
yeah,
laser vision on the task at hand." And
yeah,
and some people don't understand that, but I have to flip the switch, which we're always talking about, is that I have to focus on what we're doing or what my task is or the challenge at hand.
yeah,
I laser focus in there, and sometimes people don't really like that, but it's
yeah.
yeah,
Talk to
it's
me
a
about male tandem and tandem female. So you partnered up with Taylor Ward, uh,
Yes,
right? And so
yeah.
these two female athletes out there just doing work. And then talk to me about the side of pairing up with Jared Johnson and your expectation to perform on the course with both. So
Yeah. So Taylor's just so much fun. She's become one of my best friends. We literally met so random last year in Hoover, Alabama. We were both brand new at this firefighter challenge. Both of us honestly didn't even understand the course. Like we understood the individual, like you could run your race, and then like we had no idea that you can like partner up with random people from all over the place. We thought it had to be like within your department. And so I remember like just getting to Hoover and I was like, man, I knew I could find somebody maybe. And I really wanted to find another girl to run with. And so I remember we literally just both were underneath the same tent. We were just kind of getting our gear out and we both like have like one of the same tattoos and like, oh hey, I like your tattoo, I like your tattoo too. And she's like, do you have a partner? I was like, no, do you? And she's like, no, do you want to run together? I'm like, sure. And
yep.
then
Do
she
you
was
want to
like,
do
I'm from
karate in the
Utah, where
garage?
else am I Texas? Yeah. So we kind of like were like, let's just do it. Let's have fun out there. And literally our very first time running together, we broke a national record. So that was really cool. And that's kind of where we like just was like, oh, okay, we make a good team. She's good at the front, I'm good at the back, and we trained really hard and just were killing it all last year and this year. I wish I was in Kentucky this weekend with her, but we've just I don't know. We've had a really good friendship. I've flown out to see her. She's coming on in November to see me. We train together, and just it's really cool to have that kind of same mindset as a person. So, as far as Jared, I met Jared last year also. I was brand new at the course, like I was saying. I was at FDIC, and my partner and I, Gordon Pinland, we were at FDIC. We had no idea what to do. We would like, I think we showed up to practice the day before and just sprinted up the stairs as fast as we possibly could. And Jared, I remember Jared coming up and he was like, hey guys, are you new at this? And maybe like not go so hard on the stairs. Like it's gonna really like gas you, like maybe kind of, you have this whole race. It's gonna be pretty hard. And we're like, oh, okay. And he kind of showed us the ropes, and I met him by doing that and training with him, going into like the competitions and stuff. So we decided, since we're both from Texas, let's do a tandem at FDIC together, and we did really well. And we're gonna be racing together the rest of this year, hopefully. So he'll see us at Worlds, hopefully together. So yeah, he's just a really, really good. He's really good at the course. He works hard for it. He trains for it all the time, and so he's just somebody that I really look up to with running.
Yeah,
I
shout
think
out
it
Taylor Ward, shout out Jared Johnson. Both
when
Yeah.
you sometimes
supreme
you
human beings.
when you meet people
Oh,
that
yeah.
are on the same wavelength as you, it's like I said, it's that instant. You're like, you know what it takes to be great, and I know what
Yep.
it takes to be great, and we are on the same mission. Like that, that's like a fuck yeah moment for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's go.
100%.
Because some people don't understand. Like they might be intimidated by the fact that people are that focused to what they want to get. A lot of people don't like
Yeah.
that. They'll be standoffish.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a interaction where people just don't understand your hustle, your grind, or your motivation?
Oh yeah. All the time.
How do you
There's
deal with
like
that?
those I guess those are like the kind of people that feel you, like I think that I don't know, like I think some people are just like made differently to like we know like where we want to be in life, and we're gonna do anything we can to do it, whether it's like waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to get a workout in, or um I don't know. I think we're just made a little differently. And so, like, you have to have this strong mindset of, like, you don't care what everybody else says. Like, somebody could say, like, I don't understand why you're training this hard. Like, why are you out in the heat of 110 degrees training and out there dying when you could be out there in, like, in the morning, And it's just like those things that just kind of fuel you, like it's just you have to have a hard like mindset and a good mindset going into these kinds of things, and those kinds of comments, you just have to shake off. And so definitely don't let it affect you.
That is official, like the manuscript for the uncivil mentality. Like knowing what you have
Yeah.
knowing what you want to do and not giving a fuck of what anybody else has to say about it. So we'll
Yeah.
clip that, and that's like the uncivil mindset. That's awesome.
Yeah. You cannot care what other people think about you. You have to have a strong mindset, because if you have a weak mindset, those things are gonna come creeping into your mind. It's gonna hurt your mental game. It can hurt your physical game, because then like, oh yeah, why am I training at 110 degrees? Like why don't I train in the morning? And like you just can't let those comments affect you at all. You just have to have a strong mindset.
That's when, along the lines of that, to as a segue, when people come on my platform and they care about my mortality more than I care about my mortality, saying, "Oh, why are you training in gear?" and etc. So yeah, I just don't care. I know
Yeah.
we have to train in gear. That is our profession. And if you're a
Yeah.
professional, you're gonna put yourself in those situations to be successful. And the way you do that is you prepare. And
Yeah.
and we have the training grounds to do that. We're not gonna find out what our limitations are on the fire grounds or on game day. So yeah,
All right,
thank
Chantel,
you. Yeah.
you've got CrossFit, you've got Firefighter Challenge, you've got work, you've got life, you've got a little dog that I saw in the background, which is awesome. How do you handle it
Yeah.
all?
Sorry about
How do you, no, no, that's awesome. How do you balance everything? How does what does work-life balance look like for you?
Um, yeah, I mean, it gets crazy sometimes and it can get overwhelming, but going back to like the whole mindset and like the overall goal that I have in life, and you just have to make time, like sometimes you have to not do certain things that you might want to do. And so you have to prior prioritize like the things in life that mean the most to you. And right now in life, CrossFit, the firefighter challenge, my job, those are like my main priorities in life. And so if those are my main priorities, everything else has to take the back burner, and I have to, there's like trips I want to go on, or like, people wanting to go out, or, those are things that aren't my priority. And so you just have to, I don't know, make time for what you want to succeed in. So yeah, it definitely does get overwhelming sometimes, but
I think that we all love so many things like that. So I think people don't understand, like, when you want something or really want to prioritize, there is an imbalance. Like sometimes in life, things aren't balanced, and that's okay to
yeah,
achieve what you got going on or the
yeah,
thing that is the main goal. Other things have to go down the list of priorities. And then guess what? When you've accomplished or done the thing that you want to do, you can shift back things to normal. But sometimes work-life balance isn't a thing. Like you can't have balance if you want something or have something coming up. So yeah, like you said, prioritizing what you want and putting things on the
yeah,
back burner and knowing that it'll be there when you're ready. It'll be there
yeah,
when you have the time, and just having
yeah,
some grace with yourself with that too is important.
for sure. I think like, in the back of our minds is like someone's always going to be out there training harder than you. They want it just as much as you. And so, like, the times that you don't want to, like, necessarily go wake up early in the morning, or, even go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, like,
Oh
those
yeah.
are the times that, like, really matter. Is like, those are the times that make you level up compared to the others. And so, making that, as your I don't know, your priority in life is what makes you win the race.
We'll shift gears a little bit here. On this podcast, Eric and I were huge CrossFit nerds. Like we love CrossFit. We love the CrossFit games. And recently, as you probably know, that huge tragedy that had happened at the games. Kind of what's your idea of it? What's
Yeah.
your thoughts? And if you don't mind telling us your opinion on that, and where do you think
Yeah.
we go forward here?
Yeah, it's definitely heartbreaking. I honestly don't fully know how to think about the whole situation. I think I'm sure you follow Hiller Fit too on
Absolutely.
Instagram.
Yep.
And I think everything that he's talked about lately is just, I don't know if you listened to his YouTube little thing clip that he did of it, and I think he kind of nailed it right on point with everything. And I think safety was a huge issue this year, and cutting costs of the CrossFit Games was um, what maybe ultimately led to it. But I mean, we don't know until they come out and say what exactly happened and what was the cause of it. But I definitely think the safety issue was a concern. I think from being from like Texas and working on a fireboat, I know specifically how many fireboats are like in the area, or just rescue boats. And so I was really confused as why there was no rescue boats out there. Um, and obviously, I'm just a person. I have no idea. Maybe there was something that I didn't know. But even like competing at Wadapalooza, I remember looking out and there was a fire boat, and there was like, I want to say there was two rescue boats on the side. So I definitely, and I looked out at the water because I was terrified to swim in the ocean. It was my first time, and so I wanted to see what was out there. And there was lifeguards for there's multiple lifeguards out at Wadapalooza and fireboats, and I just felt like I felt safe. There wasn't ever a thought that crossed my mind that it was like going to be unsafe. So there's that. I think there should have been way more lifeguards. I'm pretty sure everyone has that same belief. As far as going forward, I'm not sure. I hear all this stuff about canceling Dave Castro, and I don't necessarily believe in the cancel culture of
Yeah.
things. But there's a lot of big athletes out there that are calling him out on it, and so I guess we'll see. I don't necessarily think like canceling him is gonna really do anything. I don't know, honestly.
Do you think we have a CrossFit Games 2025?
Yeah, I do. I think so. I mean, I would like to think so. I think that the sport has evolved so much in the last just few years even, you know.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that step down or not even compete in CrossFit anymore. I'm not sure where it's. What are your guys' thoughts on it
Mm.
as far as?
I think there's always going to be someone out there willing to put the time and effort to be crowned fittest man or woman on earth.
Yeah,
Just that title alone is so coveted. And yeah, but Hiller's take on it and Coach Greg Glassman's take on it was like just cancel the games and do some type of online competition and crown the fittest that way. So they could care less about the CrossFit games. Well, the words of Greg Glassman, that's not what CrossFit's all about. CrossFit's all about the affiliates and tackling uh, disease and uh, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, big pharma at the affiliate level, and that's what CrossFit. That's
yeah,
what CrossFit is. The heart and soul and beat of CrossFit is the affiliates, and that's where the magic happens.
Mm.
That we celebrate the fittest, and this thing just took off and became its own entity is mind-boggling,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
I,
I'm not
I,
sure.
Bring Greg Glassman back.
yeah, I want Greg back too, man. I
I do
feel
too.
like in the last 2 weeks, my brain has like gone so many different directions of how I feel
Yeah,
or what I wanted to like. First, I was mad at CrossFit. Then I'm
yeah,
mad at people trying to cancel Dave Castro, and then I feel bad for the athletes, and then I feel like, well, the athletes knew what they were getting into.
yeah,
I've flip flopped my opinion like
yeah,
10 times, but as an affiliate owner, I there's a huge discrepancy between the CrossFit Games and what we do in our affiliate. So
yeah. I
unfortunately,
agree.
those two things cross. You know, people see, oh man, a guy died doing the CrossFit Games. I'm not going to do CrossFit. Like that's dangerous. And I just had to be like, we don't do that. Like we don't
Yeah,
have that type of high stakes, high reward type things in the affiliate that have. And like you said, the magic is done here. I watched a lady clean and jerk 65 pounds yesterday, and the look on her face when she did that was that's like why I do it. Like it just was like a
yeah,
like a reinvigoration of why we do what we do, and that's it. That's the magic that they talk about. Not the fittest on earth is not really to me. It's not as cool as that. Like watching a lady,
yeah,
an older lady, clean and jerk 65 pounds. She was
yeah,
ecstatic. It was amazing. So that's just been on my brain of the separation of the two and just feeling like what we do here is more powerful than giving someone $500,000. But
yeah. I
it's a,
agree with that. I think, like this is the first time in CrossFit that somebody has, you know, passed away. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of changes and stuff, but there is a lot of people who have, you know, it could have happened to anybody and at any given time, in this sport, it's not like we're invincible, we can't. I think it could have been prevented for sure, but yeah, I agree with you. My mind's been all over the place with it lately. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it all. I think that CrossFit will always be a thing. Like the community is huge, and that's what makes CrossFit CrossFit. It's not about the games all the time. It's not about the best athletes. It's really truly the community. And so, yeah, I think CrossFit will forever be a thing.
I hope so.
I
I
hope
sure
so
hope
Yeah,
so.
too.
the mythology
We'll
behind it.
see.
Yeah.
It's the evidence-based training for the known and unknowable. The constantly varied function movements executed at high intensity. That's what it's all about. That's what CrossFit is, and that's so appealing to our profession
Mm.
and first responders in general and military. That is the training template. That's the training program for us.
Yeah.
So
I always say that people you can't argue with that. Like you can't argue with the definition of CrossFit and our job. Like our job is the unknown and the unknowable, functional movements at high
Yeah.
intensity. Like you
Yeah.
can't argue that that's the best training for our job. So you can call it whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, but you
Yeah.
get on a
A
fire
hundred.
scene and you need to be ready to do whatever, whenever, and at a moment's notice. So I don't know if anything else correlates that well to our job. So
mhm.
100%. Yeah.
So what's on the calendar for you this year, CrossFit wise? You said you're going to the next firefighter challenge. Like what's on your calendar fitness wise for the next, say, 6 months?
Yeah. Actually, this weekend I'm competing in College Station at BCS. That's kind of why I'm not in Kentucky. I wish I could be at two places at once, but I am putting CrossFit more at the um, higher priority list than the firefighter challenge this year. Just I'm trying to make it to semifinals this year.
Heck yeah.
So I tried last year. I was really, really, really close. But this year I'm gonna make it. And so
Yeah.
I yeah, I'm trying to focus on semis this year and hopefully make it next year. So that I'm gonna make it to the firefighter challenge worlds. I won't be there for nationals, but I'll definitely make it to the worlds. And yeah, I just have a bunch of just little CrossFit competitions up until, the season really starts getting back into things. And so it's kind of the main thing right now.
Would you like to go to semis as an individual athlete or on a team?
I think team this year. Yeah,
Mm.
try to make it on a team.
Yeah.
We have a few
I've
people
always
talk.
been a team athlete. I was never that
Yeah.
good alone. I always just rode the coattails of my teammates. So I love, and it's like being on a fire truck. Like being on a
Yeah,
CrossFit team is the same thing as being on a fire
yeah,
truck or any
for
type of
sure.
small team. Everyone knows their strengths and their weaknesses and when you got to
Yeah,
show up and what your job is. So yeah, I love the team aspect.
yeah. Are you on a team also, or are you trying to go to semis?
So
No.
I've retired from the sport of CrossFit. Like I was competing a lot. Like I've been doing CrossFit since I was 19 and I'm 32 now. So a lot of
Okay. Yeah.
a lot of competition age, 13 years
Yeah.
competing. So a couple years we made it to like Granite Games and kind of like those mid-major competitions on an elite level,
Yeah.
but that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Um, the sport has the level of athlete has increased so quickly, and like the individuals that are now competing for the CrossFit Games, I got phased out real quick, like because
Yeah.
like they're getting better, and I just wasn't getting better that
Yeah.
fast. So it's been fun to watch the sport grow, and it was fun to participate in some of the earlier stages of that kind of competitive
Yeah.
scene. But now, so at my affiliate, we just had a young lady. Her name's, well, we leave it out, but we have a young lady that just showed up. She's 18 years old, and she just competed
Yeah.
as an individual at semifinals. Yeah,
Wow.
18 years old.
That's
So
amazing.
she is a savage, like an absolute assassin of a human, but super kind and super sweet. But like I said, that 10 down to one countdown, she turns into another human. She is incredibly gifted and just super awesome human. So
That's
you just see, and
awesome.
that's what's crazy about CrossFit. She just walked into our gym. Like she just was
Yeah.
like, she's going to University of South Carolina, so it's kind of we're the closest gym to the college. So we'll
Okay.
just have random athletes like, well, I was going to school here, and then they're like, oh yeah, went to the CrossFit Games as a teenager, and I'm doing this and that. I'm like, oh okay, the game has changed. The game has officially
Yeah.
changed. I
For
can't
sure.
imagine being that young and going doing, yeah.
I don't know what they're feeding these kids these days, but going going to semis as a 18-year-old, like that's crazy. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was not doing that at 18. I
No.
was not. I think, but I think getting kids into CrossFit earlier is now leading to that next generation that's now competing at the high level. I mean, you have Sprague, you had
Oh yeah.
Dallin Pepper, you've got Emma Lawson. There is just a wave of young CrossFitters that are coming to the surface that are going to take over eventually. There's going to be a passing
Oh
of the
yeah.
guard.
Yeah.
Like the guys that I grew up watching are now phasing out slowly,
Yeah.
and you're going
Yeah,
to be
they
able to
are.
see these young guns come through.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Who's one of your like who people do you like follow or who you like to watch in the CrossFit space?
I really going back a couple years ago, Katrin Davis daughter, she was like I loved her. I loved watching her win a few I think she won like two or three times in a row.
Yeah, back to
She
back.
was my biggest like inspiration for a long time. I love Tia Toomey. I really liked watching like Brooke Ents when she was in it.
Hmm.
Sam Briggs, she was a
Hmm.
firefighter.
Yeah.
Loved watching her. Some of the older athletes, but I'm really excited to see. I love watching Haley Adams and Emma Lawson. I hope that Mallory O'Brien gets back into it. We'll see with
Maybe
that, but
maybe the only person that could dethrone Tia is Mal,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, that's how I feel
CrossFit is
too.
gonna start to spin that story now. Like if
Yeah.
they want anyone to get people to watch again, it's like bring Mal back, bring Mal back.
Oh yeah, for
It,
sure.
the media machine will begin. But
Oh yeah.
we talked about it. Tia's whenever she's done with it, that's when someone else will win. Like
Oh yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
Yeah.
competition there.
No, not compared. Yeah. Tia will forever. Laura Horvath. I'm excited to watch her too. I feel like she's grown a ton in the sport, and so I like her whole mindset thing too. She's a strong mindset. So
But we talk about these really strong women in the CrossFit space, and it's great because our kids will look up to them, or we look up to them. But being a strong woman in the firefighting space, in the CrossFit space, like what do you want people to see in you that, basically how do you feel about people looking up to you? Like, do you feel that kind of pressure? Do you feel that?
yeah, I want to be known as like someone who obviously can do the job, and I know I can, and I want to show up every day prepared for the unknown. So I work on the side for the unknown, so I'm training all the time in the gym. I want to be a good representation for younger women out there. And so I try to inspire others around me that this job is, it's very physical, but it's also mental too. And so I want to be an inspiration to young women out there, like that you have to work really hard to be a firefighter. You can't just walk in the doors and be unfit for this job or not in the right mindset. And, nothing is given to you and you have to work hard for things. And so I like to represent myself the best way I can with that and go into things and be humble about things too. If there's something that I have to work on, then I'm going to work on it. And I've had a lot of people throughout my career tell me like, oh, we weren't sure about you walking in because we just like, women are built differently than men. But then you just like, we did a training or we were on a call and they're like, man, you just really showed up and like, you just think it was like somebody was telling me actually just the other day that they had a conversation with someone like when I first got on the fire service and they're like, you know, just concerns about like women in fire and they weren't they were just concerned that I wasn't going to be able to do this job and just not only me but women in general. And then we had like this training like I don't know a couple months in after I was there and um I pulled out like a dummy out of a building and just on my own and it was like no big deal and they were like man that was really cool like you changed our whole perspective of that like you just changed our mindset of like women in the fire service and so I want to be that representation for others to to see that because it is like there is a one standard and we have to fulfill that so I don't know.
I
No,
think,
no, you do know.
yeah,
You
well,
you
yeah, you're doing
you
it.
Yeah,
exactly
I
But
do.
also,
you
like,
exactly know what you're doing.
fuck everything else. You're an example for every firefighter, male, female, anyone. Like what you just said is what is the job description. Like you can inspire everyone. So you do. I hope you know that, and you do it naturally, and people, male, female, whatever, can see your work ethic and admire it and want to do the job. So I don't think you should. You're doing a great job for females in the fire service, but males need to be watching too. Like they could take
Yeah,
that
yeah,
same advice. Like there's not too many motherfuckers that could probably pull that dummy out of the building.
yeah,
You're yeah, like you're doing the damn thing, and I just say that people admire that and we see that. So thank you first of all for setting an example for not only females but for males too. I'm writing it down.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, we've had recently in our department an upswing of female members, like of females that have gone through our academy, and it's I love it. I think it's awesome, and I don't think that anything should limit our mindset of who can do this job. And but you at the same time you have to show it. You have to show us that you can. It has to
Yeah,
be a two-way street, and try
yeah,
not to bring any mindset of like who can be in this. Like we don't own this shit. Like
yeah,
this
sure.
isn't ours. It's never going to be ours. It's never ours. So who are we to say who can do this job? Which is sorry, I'm going on a soapbox, but you
No,
just
I agree.
we got to have the opportunity to let people into this beautiful thing, but at the same time, you got to be able to prove that you want this thing. So it's a two-way street for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like so I did this physical a few months ago for my department, and I it was like one of those VO2 tests where you run on the treadmill and like they
Mhm.
measure your heart rate while you do it and all that. And obviously I was shooting for like Olympian status. Like I wanted to hold on. So they give you like this chart and it shows you where you're at and how healthy you are and how much your lungs are expanding when you're running and stuff like that. And so obviously I was like, oh, I want to be like, I want to see where my lungs are. So I was like shooting for this Olympian status, and I didn't make it, but I did really good on it. And I was sitting there talking to the lady who was measuring it, and she was giving me my overall performance. And she's like, oh, you're well above the NFPA standard for a woman. And I was like, what's the NFPA standard for a woman? She's like, there's a NFPA standard for women and there's a NFPA standard for men. And they recently, in the last few months, had lowered that standard for women to hit that like threshold on this like test. And I was like, what? They lowered the standard for women, and so it's already lower than men. And then they even lowered it like even more. So I was like, what? She's like, yeah, there's just like because they weren't getting like women to pass this test, and so they had to lower it a little bit. And I was like, this is exactly what I like don't want. Like it it's frustrating, because this is like it standards should not be lowered. It shouldn't be lowered in the first place. It
Mhm.
should be the same as men. You have to show up and do the work.
Mhm.
And so that was unfortunate to hear that the NFPA had lowered the standard
I
for
feel like the
women.
NFPA's got a lot of shit on their plate right now. I feel like I can't go on Instagram without someone dogging the NFPA. So
Yeah, for
they've got a lot of issues. But
yeah, for
so
sure.
yeah, kind of speak on that a little bit more of like how you feel about, the standard. Like we talk about the standard a lot. And what are your thoughts on, like you said, lowering standards for certain individuals to get in? Like just kind of roll on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the standard should be lowered for anyone, whether you're male, female, whatever you identify as. It's just there's a reason why there's one standard that it needs to be held to that, because if you lower the standard, then you're allowing people to be like, okay, I don't have to work as hard because I only have to hit this, and if I can hit this, then I'm good. And hopefully you don't have that mindset. I hope no one in the fire service has that sort of mindset, because we should always be striving to hit a higher standard than that you set last year, as far as like physical tests and mental tests. And so it frustrates me when you hear like, oh yeah, I don't know if I've really ever heard like, oh, I hit the standard, like
Mm.
I'm good. But definitely like when we talk about the one standard, and I don't know, I guess I'm like lost for words because it's just like I feel so like
Well, I feel like lowering the standards pisses off the high performers even more. Like
yeah,
we're all sitting here. We'll say that we perform at a high level, very humbly, but that makes
yeah,
me angry. Like when they make it easier to get in, you make the top performers want to like get frustrated. They're like, well, what's
yeah,
the point? Like why would I get up at 4 a.m. and do 100 burpees and 100 chest to
Yeah,
bar pull-ups. So why do I need to do this if they're just going to make it easier to get in or to pass the test? And I think it's just a bad both directions. The top performers or the high speed individuals get mad, and then the bad things get into, like you're letting bad things in and the pissing
yeah,
the top people off. So it's
100%. You definitely took the words right out of my mouth. Like that's exactly what I was like trying to say for sure. And it's frustrating as a female too, because I go in like, okay, I gotta do like I have these like I don't know, I just have this like mindset of like I want to be the best. I want to, and it's not a competition. It's just like I want to be the best out there. I want to be able to like do everything everyone else does, and I pride myself in being able to. And then when you hear like they lower the standards, it's like, man, come on, like
Mm.
I'm trying to make like the females that are out there that are trying to make a difference and be like hold this one standard that the fire service has. It's frustrating when they lower it because it's like, man, I thought we were getting somewhere, and then they lower it, and you're just like, oh, it's
Yeah.
frustrating. So
So we'll shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about like overall like wellness. So what's a day in the life of food look like for you? Are we, measuring and weighing? Are we just eating real food? Like let's say like a day where you're working and then maybe a day that you're not working.
yeah, so a day that I'm working, we're thankfully I work on a very healthy shift. We all want to eat healthy. We all want to eat whole foods. Like, so I'm very thankful for that. I don't think we really ever go out to eat unless like we have a busy day and we're like, hey, let's go, let's go get some pizza or something. But we cook together. We all like have a Venmo shared together. We all go to the store together, pick out our food. We always cook together. Very healthy. um, we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. So we just, even off shift, I'm the same way. I don't measure food. I just try to eat healthy overall, whole foods. I've heard a lot about this carnivore diet lately. That's kind of making me a little bit interested in doing it. However, I really like having carbs, and I think I need carbs. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I definitely just eating whole foods, and I try to get as much protein in as I can throughout the day just because of how hard I am training. So I don't measure food. I don't worry about hitting a certain macro. I think being a firefighter is just really hard to be able to maintain that. And I know that a lot of people do, so that's amazing for them. But what works for me is just eating whole foods and eating as much as I can when I can. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like I said, I'm kind of on the same page as you, is that I'm not measuring or weighing anymore. I was on that and drove myself crazy doing it. But eating
yeah,
foods that could possibly go bad if I didn't eat them today. Like that's just like no ingredient list. Like if it
yeah,
doesn't, if it comes in a box, if I can't pronounce the ingredients, I don't eat it. I'm
yeah.
also not really a great reader, so it's pretty easy when you can't pronounce a lot of words. But just taking that mentality into the firehouse has opened up a lot of conversations about food. Um,
Oh,
I
yeah. We
recently
talk about
said here we usually my buddy, my engineer, will cook with like canola oil, and I recently got him to switch over to olive oil, and that's a huge win for me. Um, but there is always a lot of questions about what I eat, and mostly when I say questions, I mean people making fun of me of what I eat. But it's okay. I'm okay with that, and I feel great. So, Eric, what's your shift like? What people are eating? Are they doing the Lord's work on their plate or no?
So for example, last shift, we got called out. We got back to the station, and the rescue had cooked breakfast, just eggs and grits, real
Nice.
simple. And then for lunch, we're usually on our own, so we'll go out to either the local grocery store or we'll go out to eat and grab something, bring it back to the station, eat at the station. I grabbed some sushi from Publix,
Hell
so that was
yeah.
my lunch. And then for dinner, one of the guys cooked. It was sweet potato stackers, so chopped up grilled chicken, and then like an assortment of tomatoes, cheese, sour cream, and whatnot, uh, lettuce, and then the sweet potato, and with bacon and some curry sauce. So that's pretty much a typical day at the firehouse.
Mm.
One of the guys a cook. Breakfast, we're pretty much on our own for lunch, so we grab our own food. Some guys bring food from their homes, and then we'll eat. We'll sit down and eat. We'll have dinner, break bread, build bonds. So yeah, not much different from Chantel's.
So you,
Chantel, coming off shift, I didn't know you were on a fireboat. How's that
Yeah,
dynamic? And then coming off shift, like any post shift rituals, anything that you do to decompress before you go home, or if any, like
yeah. The fireboat is pretty cool. Work on like the Houston ship channel that goes into the Gulf. So kind of more by like Galveston and stuff.
we want to see more of that.
That's
Let's post that. I want to see some of that.
every time I post, everyone's like, "I didn't know you worked on a fireboat." I'm so
yeah,
bad. Like, I'm the
I didn't
one
know you worked in a
driving the boat.
fireboat.
I'm making videos. I remember I posted like my first hurricane on the fireboat, and everyone was like, "What? I didn't know you worked on a fireboat." So
Mm.
yeah, I need to definitely post more of that. It's pretty cool life down there. Um, yeah, I think post shift is nothing too crazy. I try to just make it to the gym usually after shift and kind of get my mind right and maybe go on a walk with the dogs or just kind of, I don't know, just exercise really is my way of kind of decompressing.
Yeah,
So,
we
What's
know exactly. We know.
the other side of the coin for me is always sleep. What's sleep like? I mean, obviously we're on shift. You never know if it's good, if it's bad. You could get some, you could not. But do you have any, what's your operations look like after? So we're going on our day off. Do you nap? Do you not nap? Do you wait?
just depends on the kind of shift. If I get to sleep all night, then I'm good. But I mean, so those guys call me Granny Shanny at the station. That's one thing
That's
that they're
awesome.
always joking around with me. I'm very serious when it comes to my sleep. I want to be in bed by 8 or 9 p.m. at the latest. I don't
Go.
like to stay up and watch movies with everyone. I know it's a tradition, but I'm like I want to go to bed because I don't know what the night's gonna look like. And
Mhm.
if I have to wake up through the night and I just went to bed an hour ago, I'm gonna have a bad day. So yeah, I have to get sleep. And if we had a busy night, I'll come home and crash for
Mm.
sure. Because my
What
body.
trips me out sometimes is that it's okay for them to fall asleep like in the recliners watching a movie at night, but it's frowned upon for me to just be like, I'm just gonna go fall asleep in my bed.
Yeah,
You guys are asleep here, but you can't be asleep there. What's the disconnect there?
yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, I've tried to get away from in the last maybe year, getting away from the nap after shift, just because I'll feel like garbage the rest of the day.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
I
ride
get
it
that.
out. I'll ride it out and maybe go to bed at that 8:30, 9 o'clock era when I get home. Um, and that's always great sleeping in your own bed after a rough night.
Oh yeah.
All
You know
right,
what's
let's
cool? You know
yeah,
what's
go ahead.
cool? After hearing all these firefighters come on this podcast and just speak about their routine and whatnot, we're not that much different
Mm.
than all
No,
these
yeah,
than
Yeah.
all these other people across the country and other fire stations doing the same firefighter stuff. It was borderline same shit, different location.
Mhm.
We're all
Yeah.
pretty similar, man. We have these stories and like yeah, I go
Granny
through the same
Shanny. I
shit.
do love that though. I do love Granny Shanny.
Oh
yeah.
man.
It was pretty funny.
I have to bring this up. I saw you in the ice bath with socks on,
Oh,
and the internet
God.
probably went crazy with it. But what kind of recovery things do you do like that? Is that the only thing? And then we'll talk more about the socks.
Dude, socks. The socks was like I even had Dakota Meyer call me the next day. It was like, dude, I can't with the socks. He's like, do you do modified CrossFit workouts then?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna wear socks anymore. Yeah, but my recovery, my recovery is like ice bath, stretching, and I try to do a recovery day every week, but it's usually active. So that specific day, I went for like a 2 mile zone two run, and then ice bath and stretched after.
Mhm,
Um, yeah, that's basically my recovery days. Maybe get in the sauna if I can.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that's, I mean, fueling myself on recovery days, you know. What
I've been
about you guys?
conscious
What's your,
I've been consciously trying to have a day where I, you know, tone it down. I have to do
yeah,
that or my body starts to talk to me in a way that is not good. So, like you said, I'm not good at staying still. So, an active recovery, movement. I did some like assault bike running, like on the assault bike this morning. So, something chill, but enough to get the blood pumping because
yeah,
if I don't sweat a little bit, then more of my mental health is up for grabs. So,
Yeah.
I got to
yeah.
do something, but very rarely will I do nothing. I think I feel worse if I do nothing.
Oh yeah, I agree. You have to move your body.
Eric, what you think? Do you taking recovery days these days or what?
Yes.
No.
After after 40, man, I love sleep.
Mm,
And these rest days where I'm doing nothing just primes me for the next day to do something, right? Kind of puts me like you could tell when I don't work out. You could like I people can't stand me. I can't stand myself. So when I get to that point where like, okay, I'm getting antsy or I need to do something, that's when, I execute. But yeah, I think just tearing down the body, man. I mean, when you take a day off, that's where you recover. Sleep is the ultimate like game changer. I appreciate
Okay.
more sleep because when I was younger, I would hardly sleep, and it was like the more you sleep, the less you live. So I had that mindset. But
Yeah.
now as I've gotten older, I need to like regress, digress, take a step back, and I need to recover because there's only so much you could tear down before your body breaks and your body's. And I've had, I've, I've had unhealthy relationship with fitness, and my body has broken, and I had to like the recovery was so much longer if I would have just trained smart. So as I've gotten older, that I take that into consideration. But yeah, man, recovery is essential.
I
I'm
I call that the beginner CrossFit syndrome. Like when you first start CrossFit, you think more is more is more is better and better. If I do more and if I do one more
yeah,
AMRAP, if I do more
sure,
muscle ups, then I'm going to get better. And then you can only do that for so long before you have like your first big injury.
yeah,
And then you
Yeah.
start maybe doing some homework or some research of, oh man, maybe I shouldn't do this much. But you have to go through it. You have to go
exactly.
through that vicious cycle to learn.
Is that what I had?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sounds
for
like that.
sure.
Sounds
Yeah.
like that's exactly what I had.
I think everyone goes through it, man. You got to, and it's you see people going through it, and you're like, okay,
You you
you gotta,
you gonna learn.
you gotta learn, yeah, the hard way. It's okay. I'm gonna try to help you as much as I can, but you gotta go through it to learn. So
Yeah, what a blessing,
Hey,
man.
Eric, have been meaning to ask you, how did
Ah,
your body feel while doing the smoke divers last year?
okay, full transparency. My knees were swollen.
Really?
It's just search, 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 search some more. Oh, you're tired of searching? Go search this. And so I took that weekend off. You're familiar with the program, 6 days. On Friday, you graduate, and then I was on shift that Monday. So I took the weekend to like not do anything, recover, and I was back to work
Yeah.
on Monday.
Wow.
Elated, blessed, so fortunate to have been able to complete the program. I was just on that high and back to
Yeah.
reality on Monday. I wasn't too I wasn't too banged up. I don't want to speak for anyone else. I know some people were like sore as fuck and uh, my knees were jacked up just from the
Yeah.
searching and being on my knees constantly. I know that
Yeah.
sounded wrong, but that's exactly what I was doing. So
Yeah, but you were in shape, like really good shape going into it. So that probably helped you out too.
yeah, are you planning on doing it? Because you could totally fucking do it.
let's fucking go.
Taylor and I looked into it and we're like, maybe we should do this together. But yeah,
Yeah,
That
maybe.
yeah, I
man,
believe in you, and you
yeah.
have the tools, and you have the capability, you have the mindset. You know, preparing for that is real. So I would say go to it as prepared as you can, and then execute. But you could do work out there.
For
But
sure. Yeah.
that statement is important, but in your brain, you're probably
Yeah.
like, man, I don't fucking know if I can do it. Because like people will be like, yo, you can do this, you got it. It's like you fucking work out all the time, like you got it. But
No,
then
it's different. It's a different animal. It's not just working
Yeah.
out. It's actually training in gear and doing red ops, firefighter survivability and searching, and just talk about like-minded individuals finding each other. That's the like the epitome. And just like fitness in the fire service, what the firefighter challenge is, it's like the symposium of like, you know, fit firefighters and, you know, mindset. That's I was like I'm so blessed to have been able to like experience both at the highest level, like world firefighter challenge last year, and then to be able to go to the program and be successful. Like I'll confess I was scared, not knowing what I was
Yeah.
about to encounter. But that's okay, you know, show up anyways and do the work.
Yeah.
There's something that we haven't talked about in this podcast, but I think that we all go do it is that do you guys, both of you, ever feel like you have imposter syndrome? Like, do you feel like when you feel like you're like, fuck it, I'm not good enough to be here, or wow, look at all, like, how can I be in the same room as some of these guys? Like, do you ever feel that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like even just going into like this weekend, I'm terrified because I haven't competed in a few couple of months now in CrossFit, and I'm going into like a really hard competition. And it's like, man, I'm going against all these really, really good athletes, and I have to like remind myself like how much I've been training here lately, and like put myself in a good mindset going into it. And so, yeah, of course. I think that's part of the game, but I don't know, changing your mindset and making sure you're like, no, I can do this
Mhm.
Yeah,
is
flipping that switch.
Yeah. Maybe
well,
not
I'm
letting
just,
that dog eat, Like
Uh,
you go through that
yeah,
stage of like maybe I'm not good enough to be here, but then you go back to all the work that you've put in or the preparation that you've put in. Like there's no like you said, there's certain people like you know that you did the work to get where you want to go. So you just have to trust that.
yeah,
yes. Uh,
100%.
at times I walked in rooms where I may have appeared confident. I probably wasn't, but I acted like I was because I
Yeah.
deserved to be in that room. And if you walk around like you're deserving of to be that you're deserving to be in the room, then so be it. I mean, no one else can tell. But yeah, but sometimes no, I work for this. I deserve to be here, and so it
Mhm.
shows that confidence is that aura. It shows. So
I think in
Yeah,
Goggins' last book, he talked about like for his whole career or a lot of these things, he wanted a seat at this table of guys that he looked up to, like these people that he wanted to be in the same room as or be a part of. And I think at one point he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make my own table. Like that's what kind of my thoughts is that like if you
uh,
always are trying to get into this room with these people that you look up to, you're almost wasting your time where you can make your own table. Like you can
yeah,
create your own room, which like I think like Uncivil training gear, like we're saying like fuck it, dude, we're gonna do our own thing. Like we're gonna find our own community and create it, and
yeah,
everyone's welcome. That's another thing is like there's no gatekeeping, there's no barriers. If you come on, like you can be with us anytime you want. So
well said, brother. Thank you.
that's why I like the fire challenge too, because like there is no gatekeeping, like you said, in the fire service. Like I remember showing up brand new, and all these people were like, no, let me show you the ropes. And even
mm,
to this day, like I've helped people with the dummy. Jacqueline was helping me with a Kaiser last when we were in Oklahoma. Like there's just all these, everyone wants to help each other and watch each other succeed. And so I think that's one of the main reasons I like the firefighter challenge is like there's no gatekeeping. Everyone wants the best for everyone. And like it's so electrifying to watch people like cheer for each other too, like they're so excited when somebody gets like a PR on their time, or like if someone makes Lions Den, it's like like it's you're almost more happy for them that they made Lions Den than you were for yourself, because like you
mm.
want everyone around you to succeed. And so it's very I love the sport, so it's awesome.
So Chantel, we usually like to wrap these episodes up with, a mantra that you use during like times that you need it or during a tough training session or a tough situation. Like what's your conversation you're having with yourself and what's something you repeat over and over?
I don't know if there's anything that I repeat over and over, but it's always like I always keep in the back of my mind somebody's working harder than me. And so I have to work harder to be the best I can. I'm always thinking about that, of someone's always working harder than you. And so I want to be the hardest worker in the room. And so I'm just gonna just try to go hard, you can do it, all the little sayings you say in your head before something
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, that's pretty natural. I think you said
Yeah.
it very, very well. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I feel like this was three old friends just kicking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
100%.
be watching. We support you fully in all your endeavors, and we know that you'll execute at a high level.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. It's
Mhm.
awesome. I loved doing the training gear, by the way. That was so much
Yeah.
fun with Taylor. I'd love to do it again sometime. Are you guys
Absolutely.
coming to the World Firefighter Challenge by chance?
I'll be up there in October.
Okay, cool.
I'll be up in Worlds,
Where is it?
Nashville,
It-
Tennessee,
Well,
That's
yeah.
not too far away from me.
Yeah.
I do
towards
got
the end of
another.
October.
I've got a big date coming in October, end of October. I'm having a son, so I'm
Oh,
probably not gonna
wow.
make it, boys and girls. I probably won't be there.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Chantel, keep on doing what you're doing.
Yes.
I'm a fan. I
Same to
believe in
you.
you. You can't let your foot off the pedal. You just gotta keep on doing what you're doing. Don't let the naysayers get to you, and just keep working. You don't see results,
Thanks,
keep
guys.
working.
Yeah.
Just keep working.
If
That's
there's anything that Eric and I can do to support or help or
Yeah.
facilitate, you let us know, because like I said, we're full supporters, we're fans, so we hope you do well with everything.
100%. Yeah. Thank you. Same to you guys. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Cool.
for inspiring my voice.
Absolutely. Have a
trying.
great day.
Have a blessed day.
You too. Thanks.
So, to all the viewers and listeners out there, the Uncivil Mentality Podcast, thank you for joining us. On behalf of myself, Erik Vidal,
And I'm Reilly. Kilbride. Get after it. Get in your gear. Start f***ing training. It can never be enough.